editors in this room that I owe pages to are doing pages right now. Yeah, for sure. I cannot believe it's a Friday and we have a full panel for this at 2 o'clock. It's fucking rock. This is a DC renaissance. I mean, I think DC has incredible energy right now, and with Dawn of DC, we're launching these books as the best they can be. I'm fucking psyched. I'm glad to hear this. I'm happy to be here. I wish I was writing 4 books.
Be careful what you wish for. Marie, you heard that? So I'm really, really excited about Wonder Woman #1. That's exciting news.
It makes me very nervous when you call it #1.
Yes, Brittany Holzer, the editor on the book, she's told me all about it, and I'm just like, wow, that's really exciting. What does it mean for Wonder Woman to be an outlaw? That's what she told me. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman's very hard. It's a hard character to write, I think. And so I was looking at her, I was very intimidated by this and trying to think of what makes her sort of different. I've done Batman, I've done Superman, what makes her different. And to me, Batman's someone who fights crime, just kind of enforcing the law. Superman is, sort of this ideal American dream character. But Wonder Woman, from her very origin, from day one when Marston created her, she was a rebel. She was against sort of the standard, against the status quo. She was someone who looked at the way the world was and said, I am different, and I am awesome because I am different, and I can change the world because of that. And so I wanted to put her outside of the system in a way that Superman and Batman aren't, where she is against the system and against sort of the big momentum that propels us forward. She's the rebel. She's the outlaw. That's where I wanted to put Wonder Woman. Because I thought that's what makes her cool. I want to see her bashing some tanks. I want to see her telling people, no, the fucking world can be a better place and I can make it better. So that's where we put her.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, yeah.
One of the things I read about is, for Wonder Woman specifically, you created some sort of a Bible, and it was inspired by your 12-year-old daughter dressing up as Wonder Woman and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about what you love so much about Wonder Woman and you hope to instill upon the story?
Yeah, I mean, I have a 12-year-old daughter who dresses up as Wonder Woman. She's, my daughter's she's the best person ever. She helps me with the story all the time. She's more of a tomboy, she's a soccer kind of player, but she still loves princesses, and she loves sort of that story of like how a princess can take power and grow. So I wanted to write a book that was for her, but sort of for both. That someone she could admire, but someone who's also kind of had an edge that she could kind of thought was a little dangerous, because that's kind of what she likes. She likes Hunger Games, like that kind of character, like Katniss. Where Katniss is not, she fights back, she's badass, but she's also kind of a cool princess. I don't know, that's what I was trying to make. Yeah, but also I did so much research, and I read a bunch of blogs, a bunch of Twitters of people talking about what makes Wonder Woman great and all that stuff. So I wrote basic kind of rules, like Wonder Woman's a rebel, and stuff like, she's been with a sword for so long. I was like, no more sword. I wanted to have a lasso. I want it to be like, like Indy's whip, like as cool as that. And I love the tiara. I wanted to do the tiara. I went back and watched the Linda Carter TV show. Goddamn, Linda Carter is the most superhero-looking person who ever is on this earth. It's like, I want that Linda Carter energy where she spins and turns into Wonder Woman. So that was sort of what it was like. It was sort of those little rules of stuff we could have.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we have some art to show by Daniel Sempere.
Oh, that's such a wonderful pronunciation. I get it wrong.
Sempere, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I actually don't.
That looks so good.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, how cool is that, right?
Doves. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, of course. So with Wonder Woman, I do a lot of books that they're really about men looking down their own, belly button and crying. So I do lots of books like that, which I love. They're wonderful books. But I do another kind of book, which is the Supergirl book and the Superman Up in the Sky book.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. But the point of those books is just to make those characters as awesome as they can be. Every page is, wow, how awesome is Supergirl? And that's what this book is. It's in that tradition, not sort of the sad crying out the window tradition. And for that, I wanted an artist sort of, in the Jim Lee mold, in the Todd McFarlane mold, I know I'm old, I'm sorry, but these are the heroes of my childhood. In the Rob Liefeld, people that when you read the comic, you get up and you start punching the air because you feel like you're inside the comic. And that's what Daniel's perfect for that. That's exactly what he gives you. He makes you want to play the game. It's like, you want to be Wonder Woman in this book.
And Danny just came out drawing Dark Crisis, and so he's also like really excited to just draw not 500 characters on one page. So I'm really excited to see what he does on Wonder Woman.
Yes, I never have to, like, all the lanterns are never on one page in Wonder Woman, yeah.
So you're also writing the Penguin.
Yes, exact opposite of
I was
Wonder
just gonna
Woman.
say, and the premise is pretty cool.
Also played by Linda Carter.
Also does a spin and turns.
Yeah, also
into
say, yeah,
Penguin.
we definitely incorporate that, yeah.
The premise is pretty cool. The Penguin, Oswald, wants to retire from a life of crime, but then he gets pulled back in. Can you talk a little bit more about that story?
Yeah, in current continuity, if hopefully you've been following along, because Chip's stuff is brilliant, but in current continuity, the Penguin's been kicked out of Gotham and sort of retired. And in this, Donnie Brasco style, the government comes to him and says, we need you to go back to Gotham and take it over. And the idea for that book sort of was more of like, I obviously watched the Batman, and I freaking love the portrayal of Penguin in that movie. My God, it was so cool. And the idea of Penguin as, like the Scorsese Penguin, like the Godfather Penguin. And I started thinking about, like, Penguin is the crime boss of Gotham City, and he operates there with Batman, who is, in my opinion, could take out Galactus, but can't take out Penguin. Like, that amazes me that he must be so evil and so careful and so planned. I was like, this guy is, he's an 800-pound gorilla in the DC universe. He goes where he wants to go. So that I started from that, like, how did this guy run crime in Gotham under Batman, and how does he get back into it? And yeah, it's the exact opposite of Wonder Woman. One day I'm writing the nicest, most awesome person in the museum, and the next, the creepiest, meanest, most horrible human being who will do anything and everything to acquire power. And that's what that book is about. It's about a man who will kill your mother in order to make you say bless you after he sneezes. Like, he's just a very mean human being. And
I hope
it's
you're
wonderful.
not doing method writing with that then.
No. Once or twice, but just you have to experiment.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right, Mitch. Batman Raven's is such an iconic title. Can you talk a little about, when you're approached to do the project, the story you're kind of drawing, and if you're treating it differently than the Batman titles you've drawn before?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, so Tom and I think we originally pitched it as, we just want to do another Batman project. We're going to do this. I'm like, oh, we've got this brave and the bold idea. We'll add it to that. And then I was like, he doesn't team up with anybody.
Teams up with Bruce.
Yeah, he teams up with the reader, I guess. But,
You have to decide which one's brave, which one's
But so Tom and I are doing the first 4 issues, the feature in the first 4 issues, and it's the most horrifying, scary retelling of Batman #1, Joker's first appearance, in that creepy Tom King fashion. But
with Wonder Woman.
a fun true fact about drawing that first issue is I drew the whole thing forgetting that it takes place in year 1. And so then I had to go back and redraw like a whole bunch of it. That was fun. But no, I've just been, I tried to
put in the
approach...
script not year 1 on every
Yeah.
page. I was like, that's really gonna mess him up.
But it's been, I try to approach my work differently in each issue, and it's like, I'm always like, to my wife, I'm like, look at how different I'm drawing this. She's like, it looks the same. But to me, it's like completely different.
That looks really creepy, dude.
Oh yeah, we are, it's, for me, like, I was
the
just...
first time people have seen these pages.
Yeah, first time. And, but for me, the Joker, so I'm obsessed with Batman the Animated Series. And there's never been a better Joker than Mark Hamill in the Batman Animated Series. Like, there's no comparison. But if you watch those episodes, he's always the funny clown, but then there's these moments where he just is kind of mean and terrifying. They happen very quickly. And that's kind of how I approach the Joker in our whole book, is he's stuck in those moments. And he's very unsettling. The way, I don't want to, because there's no, we do a device with how the Joker interacts with people, and it's not in the preview pages, and I want to keep that a secret, because I think it's one of those things when you're reading it where like, oh, that changes everything in the story, and it's pretty cool and unique.
So you and Tom have worked together for a long time.
Too long.
Recently,
Oh my God.
Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler, and Mr. Miracle, all this good stuff. How has your creative collaboration and process evolved over the years? Or, I guess, regress, I don't know.
I mean, we no longer talk to each other.
We are John Byrne and Chris Claremont. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I
Have we
think
evolved
it's-
at all? No.
I think
like shorthand
we
you guys have
constantly,
now?
like, the one thing I like working with Tom a lot is we're always trying to push ourselves and outdo ourselves. It's never like just the next thing. It's how can we top the previous thing, which is very exciting as a creator. You never get in that thing of like, oh, I just want to do another Batman thing. I want to do another Batman thing that affects me and affects the reader and like changes things. And I'm really trying to avoid saying changing the game because I hate that phrase so much. But I think Tom and I we have the shorthand that's been developed for years, and I think it's a lot of like, we understand each other without saying things, which is creepy.
I will times I'll be like, I need them to talk for 2 pages. Do you want it to be Batman swinging through the air or Batman driving the Batmobile? Or what do you feel like drawing? Well, and then this time you said I want to draw Batman getting out of his car for 2 pages. What could be more exciting to the reader than getting out of a car?
But nothing else can.
Yeah, so there's there. I do ask. He's the only artist I ask that stuff about. So.
You don't call him at 3 a.m. like, how about another 9-panel grid?
Well, I do feel, I know his wife, I'm godfather to his kid, and I know like when I get to like panel 6, I'm like, oh, Lauren's gonna be mad at me. Like, I do feel there is a guilt that comes.
I was
To be
working
fair, I love
on
those 9-panel grids.
I was working on the second issue recently, and there's a 16-panel page on it. And I have the script sitting next to me, and my wife comes in to say goodnight, and she looks down at the script, she's like, what does that say? I'm like, what? She's like, why is there a 1 and a 6 next to it? She's like, I'm gonna call Tom. I was like, no, she will.
And Tom, I know you're doing some covers, some variant covers.
No, they're horrible. They are
Mitch,
terrible.
are you giving him some pointers on these covers?
So,
This is the worst thing that's happened to comics.
Tom calls me one day, and he's like, because DC sent him some comic boards to actually draw them on. So there's originals out there, people. And he calls me up, he's like, what do all these lines mean? And so I go through and be like, oh, this is the bleed, this is the safe zone. I don't
And tell them,
understood any of it.
tell them how stupid your fucking process is. I'm like, what do these zones mean? He's like, well, you put the important stuff in the middle and then the unimportant stuff in the side because they may not see it. I was like, they may not see what you draw? Have you ever written a line like, oh, they may not see the end of this sentence? Like, what bizarre world do these artists work in?
Magic users.
It's the trim. They got a trim. Exactly. Yeah. You know.
So weird. You have a weird job. It's all good.
Wait, when are those variant covers out?
Never. Don't buy. Don't. We're friends, right? You came here. Don't buy those fucking covers. They're terrible. I can't be supportive friends. They're horrible pieces of art.
Hot collector's items.
For those of you who are not familiar, you've seen Tom's do some sketches sometimes and sightings. It's like beautiful stick figures. Just like stick figure Batman with a cow. The one I've seen recently, because Brittany showed me, is Danger Street, and I love it.
The most annoying thing about that one is I'm the variant artist on that. So I don't ever want to see sales numbers for Danger Street number 5.
Tom is going out on your job. So are all the writers on this panel that are given a chance.
My 9-year-old sits next to me as I'm drawing and makes fun of me as I draw. My 9-year-old. Ugh.
So you say she's doing it for you and just like slipping it here.
God, if that were true, that'd be good.
Cool. Dennis.
That's right.
How's it going?
I'm doing real good.
many years since Doom Patrol has been back in the mainline DCU, so this is exciting news for Unstoppable Doom Patrol to be so. Can you tell us a little bit about the series?
Yeah, so they're the outcasts of the DC universe. We have a mission statement, which is saving the world by saving the monsters. So the Doom Patrol, if you look at them, they all wear orange now instead of their traditional red. Burnham and I are kind of trying to make them like superhero first responders. So when they show up on the scene, they're there to help the metahumans. So when someone develops powers and they're going out of control, that can be a really bad thing in the DC universe, especially if you end up someplace like the Suicide Squad where they put a bomb in your head. So the Doom Patrol are mad about that, and they're running around trying to help metahumans and get them out of there before things like that happen to them, before they end up in a place like Arkham Asylum where traditionally there's not a lot of rehabilitation that happens there. So they're taking all these metahumans. They're not training them for some war or anything like that. They're just helping them live. If you suddenly have tentacles for arms, you got to figure out things like tying your shoes and brushing your teeth and things like that. So like that team, their whole mission is kind of just helping bring in new metahumans and rehabilitating them. And then after the events of Lazarus Planet, the world kind of went crazy, and so there's a whole lot more metahumans, so their mission got escalated. And they're stepping on a lot of toes. Like the first issue, they roll into Gotham City, and Batman's not happy about that, like you do. And yeah, Burnham's killing it on it. We've got some classic Doom Patrol villains in that too. Like, I'm super excited about it. We just added a 7th issue as well, which, yeah. It's going to be a bonus issue drawn by Dave Weltman. So, yeah, it's going to be super cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So during Dark Crisis, when Titans Academy kind of blew up, Tom Taylor, the writer on Nightwing, was like, where would Beast Boy go? Like, would he be at Doom Manor? And I was like, oh yeah. If for those of you who don't know, Beast Boy actually originated and first appeared in Doom Patrol. So y'all are doing something to celebrate that, but in a different way.
Yeah, so when we were putting together the team, like I was looking at, I'm a lifelong Doom Patrol fan. Like I've been reading that comic forever, and I think there's certain archetypes you should have when you have a Doom Patrol team. And, having that kind of young kid who's kind of, pointing out what they're doing and really kind of your gateway character, like Beast Boy was for the Doom Patrol. But I think that character is he's firmly a Titans character now. There's been more adventures of Beast Boy and the Titans than there ever was in Doom Patrol. So, what I presupposed was, what if there was a Beast Girl? And so Burnham and I exchanged some drawings. We used to be in a studio together, so that was kind of like how we work together, is we kind of like talk with drawings sometimes. But I sent him an idea, and then he came back with that, which is just adorable. And then the way her powers work is she's not like a shapeshifter like Gar. She kind of messes with the flight or flight response. So imagine this adorable character, and then people just running in absolute terror from her. And it's awesome. Yeah, she's a great character.
Well, that's super cool.
Yeah, that's great.
I love it. So in the past few years, DC have done some really cool variant covers, including we did a glow-in-the-dark thing, we did some trading cards for Lazarus Planet, I did like a lucky red envelope thing for Monkey Prince. Another cool thing we're doing for Doom Patrol are scratch-off variants, where Jane can be different personalities. Can you talk about how that idea came to be? Because it's brilliant.
Yeah, so like I said, Burnham and I were in a studio together for a number of years, and literally one of the things he always talked about was a scratch-off cover. He was like obsessed with it. So as we were doing this, and when we got approved, I was talking to Ben about variant covers, and he had this idea for like a glow-in-the-dark negative man, which is like great. It's kind of like a character-driven variant. And I was like, hey Ben, Burnham's got this idea, he's obsessed with it. And to Ben's credit, he just picked up his phone and started texting people, like trying to figure out if we could get it done. And then as we started talking about it, it was like, would it be cool if when you scratch it off, like the lottery, you don't know what the outcome is going to be. And so you get 5 possible outcomes, because if you don't know about Crazy Jane, she has 64 different personalities and they all have different superpowers. We couldn't do 64. We did 5. But yeah, it's really neat. I got my comps. It's super fun scratching it off. There's like, you kind of feel bad because your comic's no longer mint, and you want to like scratch it off perfectly and make
That's why
it
you
perfect.
should buy 5 each.
Yeah. You want to buy a mint one and buy one.
Maybe 10, you might get doubles.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah, but yeah, it's super fun. Like, it's really neat. It's something I would love as a reader, so I was really excited to put that together.
Same, like when these comps came in the office, all the editors were like, save me a copy, I want it.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome, so Unstoppable Doom Patrol actually, #1 comes out this Tuesday, so make sure to go pick it up.
Yep. Yeah.
Jeremy! We all love your run on Flash and Flashpoint Beyond. There we go. Big fan of the Wondercon, brilliant story. So I'm super excited about you writing Green Lantern.
Thank you. I'm super excited as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about the series and your take on Hal Jordan?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so Morgan.
Oh, we're done?
This is like a kind of coming home moment for me. My first credit in television was in Green Lantern, the animated series. Really? So this was like, I always remember being in the writer's room and they had pinned a photo of Captain Kirk over Hal. And I was like, oh, I get it. Like, that's what it is. So, yeah, I can't tell you too much because there's kind of a mystery involved, but the fact is that Hal Jordan is kind of stuck on Earth, and Sector 2814 has been quarantined, and we don't know why yet. That'll be told as the story goes on. But what we do know is that Hal Jordan is COVID.
Brilliant.
Is that it's topical. And, so Hal Jordan is an extremely confident guy that comes back to find that the woman he loves is in another relationship, and not many people are being trained to be jet fighter pilots anymore, and like the world's moved on. And how do you come back from the universe, seeing all the wonders that's out there, and make your life normal again? And so you can see the art by Zermanico, which is unbelievable. We worked on Flashpoint Beyond, and every time he would send something in, it was just like, what am I doing here? Because I'm ruining these pages with words because he's so dang good. And this is kind of like some of the soapy romance stuff going on, but when you see the action stuff, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. It's really, really remarkable, and he's kind of a ridiculous artist that gives you like, here's 5 different versions. Which one do you like? And I'm like, I can barely trust myself. So.
And we're with Monaco on Black Stars, which is like another spin-off of Green Lantern, and he was like, this is my 12th version of this page, what do you think? And I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah, stop. First, let us amazing. You're making me feel bad.
I'm catching like a lot of, I don't know, maybe it's just me, some Top Gun vibes with like bomber jacket and everything. Is that like purpose? And talk about
Absolutely. It's kind of like Maverick Han Solo-ish stuff going on, and you have some interesting stuff with Kilowog and Sinestro, and it's been a lot of fun. It's not as maybe zany and lighthearted as The Flash has been, which has been a unique challenge for me, and I'm enjoying it. But I love it too. I have like 2 speeds, like 80s action movies and like teeny bopper romances, and it's like fitting somewhere in between the OC and Cliffhanger or something. I don't know.
So you're saying there's going to be a volleyball scene?
Absolutely. For you? Yeah. Done.
So there's just a few issues left before Flash reaches milestone
Yep.
800.
Yeah.
What we should expect leading up to that?
So, The Flash, I'm ending with like some guest stars and some crazy callbacks to the overall run, and then we get to 800, which early on I talked to Paul about, like, I really hope that 800 can be this like big thing for the fans, and I found out that Mark Waid lives a couple blocks away from me, and we kind of struck a friendship, and anytime you're talking to Mark Waid about Flash, it's like, oh, he's got to write something, and Jeff is going to write something, and Josh is going to write something, and it's all going to be better than what I'm writing. So it's great. It's going to be worth your money. Oh, that's the other thing about Green Lantern is Philip Kennedy Johnson is doing the back of John Stewart stuff in there. So if you hate mine, it doesn't matter because it's like he's the genius. So it'll be great. But the Flash 800 is coming out, and it's been a thrill. It has been an absolute thrill to be able to write the West family and have fun doing it. And it's so much like how my life is. And to be able to do this giant sized 800 is it's going to be awesome.
Hey, Morgan.
Hello.
Morgan came from our last initiative program, and that's where I met him, and I was like, I can't wait for you to work with you. So I know you're transitioning from being a journalist into a comic book writer on Cyborg. How has that transition been, and are there any weird like comic book script things that you're like, I never thought about that?
Yeah, so I started, I wrote for Black Nerve Problems for like 5 years. And it's interesting because like I kind of, my mission with that was to, you know, get press passes and get interviews with guys like these on stage and just like learn as much as I possibly could. So when I, you know, got to start writing the comics, I, you know, was taking advice from people like Scott Snyder that I was interviewing and stuff like that. So it's interesting to be on the other side of the table now. And I think, I mean, it's just a lot of fun. It's a surreal experience for sure.
What's your favorite comic book sound effect? And those are the weirdest things that when I was first editing comics, I'm like, I have to visualize sound.
I think with writing Cyborg, with like the boom tubes, there's like a lot of like, badooms. It's fun to write. Yeah, I like that a lot.
How about your other writers here? Any favorite sound effects?
Crack-a-doom.
Crack-a-doom's so good.
For what?
Mine's one I actually stole from Chip Zdarsky in his book Sex Criminals. Cell phones always make the sound zerp zerp. And it's my, like when my phone goes off, I say zerp zerp. Like it's in my head. So anytime I have a phone go off, it's that. I mean, and I guess there's also the flip flip from The Sound of Her Wings, right? That's very famous too. If it's the goths in the room, it's from Sandman.
No opinion on this side of the
Yeah. Tom?
Well, Tom always does this thing with sound effects where he rewrites them to sound like a cat from a meme is saying them. So like in Mr. Miracle, like when he's fighting someone, it's F-I-T-E, F-I-T-E, fight, fight. Like sneak, sneak would be like S-N-E-K.
I do like when a sound effect is just telling you exactly
Yeah.
what the thing is. Like if they're hammering, you just say hammer, hammer.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
I recently, I've been writing comics like 10 years, and I was always, when a gun goes off, which happens, I bang is my standard gun, and I switched to blam.
Oh.
And I came to the dinner table that day, and I was like, children, I switched from bang to blam. And my kids were like, oh my God, you do not do anything for a living. You have a fake pretend job. We should go to McDonald's.
I'm gonna start doing gun.
Yeah, gun.
When I was editing an Ace the Bat Hound story featuring a bear, I was just in front of my monitor and like, what does this bear's sad sound like? So it's fun stuff in comics. So Morgan, there was like a really cool redesign on Cyborg. Can you put it up here? But when Marquise first showed us, I was like, whoa, this is so new and different. Can you talk a little bit about how this came to be?
Honestly, I was just like, can we put Cyborg in some clothes? He's been naked for 40 years. So. That was really my input. And then I saw the designs too, and I'm like, yeah, that jacket is fly. I'm gonna need one of those for myself. So, yeah.
I love that cover when he wears football gear.
Yeah.
Like I love when he wears his jersey.
Yeah, a lot of this series is about like Cyborg coming home and reconciling with who he was versus who he is, and like how the city views him, and yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us a little more about the first issue that's gonna come out in a few months?
Yeah, so Cyborg, obviously, as you guys know, is from the Titans, and he's coming home to Detroit for the first time in a long time, and he's recognizing that the city's a lot different than it was when he left. You know, shout out gentrification, I guess. And there's a lot of new people in town that just are not representative of the city and don't really understand Cyborg's relationship to the city. And then there's also people who are from the city who are not happy that he left and it's like become this big thing and like forgot about them. So it's about you know, kind of exploring Cyborg's or Victor's like soul as well as the soul of like Detroit. And how those two can kind of parallel and intertwine. Yeah.
I know you, during the Milestone Initiative, I know y'all went through all this training with the best professionals around. What did you take from that it was helping you in your transition right now, writing, sound work? And I know you're also working with Marv, who is help guiding. How's that been?
Working with Marv is great. He's kind of come over as like a mentorship role, and a lot of his notes are just like, yo, you have like a lot of dialogue on these panels, so like cut down on that. But I also get nice notes from him, which is nice too. But yeah, I think what I took from the Milestone Initiative, from the writer side, is to give your artists as much space to do what they need to do, and don't be too ham-fisted with what you're telling them. And I think that's kind of helped me working with Tom on the art here, just giving him like the breathing room. I've noticed that like he'll come and ask me like, actually, you could actually give me some more direction. And it's more of like something out of him, which is fun. Yeah.
I love that. Can you talk a little bit more about working with Tom Rainey? Because he's Tom Rainey.
He's Tom Rainey, yeah. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, like I thought it was going to be more. I was going to have to give him a lot more room, but he wants to know a lot more meticulous things, which is a lot of fun for me. So I'll give him a lot of, he needs like character references, like for people, and so I'll just give him like, you know, I think you had some of the concept art there. I was like, that character on the left, the woman is so Cyborg, spoiler alert, is in therapy during this series, and that's his therapist. And I was like, yeah, he was like Yvette Nicole Brown, and like he like took that and ran with it, and I think he did a great job.
Oh, I love that. Very cool.
Yeah.
Tini!
Hi, sorry I was late, guys.
So you're simultaneously writing the two most iconic female characters, not just in Gotham, but DCU. That's
2 of 3 sirens.
Whoa.
Yes, I'm very glad that the others in very good hands.
And, you know, not only that, but these heroines kind of skirt the line between good and bad, they're like anti-heroes. How has your process been writing these really complex, non-traditional superheroes?
Well, one cool thing is that about working in comics, and this is not a joke, it is an interesting thing, that like a lot of my coworkers are men, and a lot of the people that I've worked with, or that I've worked on the characters that I'm working on before, are often men. And so often I can explore things about the character that male writers haven't been comfortable with. I'm really comfortable with that part of myself. I'm really comfortable with discomfort and with growth and with, makes me sound like I think I'm really great. I just mean that I like weird stuff. Like, I like, you know, I like gray. I like, and more than that, I don't just like to see characters cross the line between good and bad because it's fun. I like to see it because it puts them in hot water, and it's how they make choices, and we get to see them make choices that matter when they're up against a wall one way or another. And I think that's one of the strengths of women, is how we act when we're backed into a corner. And that's something that I bring both to Catwoman, which is a book that's really, if you're reading it, it's very dark, it's very intense. One of my early pitches for it was it's a Scorsese movie. If the Scorsese movie remembered that the female characters are the best ones, like it's Sharon Stone in Casino, it's, Lori Bracco in Goodfellas, it's that. And then Harley, which is like a completely different type of book where I'm laughing at those things. I'm laughing at these hard choices. We're laughing at them together, and I'm going to be inviting everyone to laugh at ourselves a little bit in this book.
Harley Quinn, 28, is going to start your run with Sweeney Boo. You're excited
That's
about
right.
that.
The incredible Sweeney Boo. Like, if you guys are not familiar with her art, you have to understand she's doing everything from pencils to colors on this book, because her style is just so incredible and unique. She often doesn't work with writers. She writes and draws her own things, so like she doesn't even need me. Really doesn't. But yeah, her style is so incredible. So if you're not familiar with her work, like you're in for a huge, huge treat, because she's fully in control art-wise here. And I mean, you see it. Like we're way ahead on this book because we wanted to give her the time to be able to do all of it, soup to nuts, because Harley's nuts.
I fell in love with Sweeney Boo on her first novel, Eat and Love Yourself.
Yes.
So if you haven't read that, it's really, really good. And I was like, you have to come over to DC and draw like Gotham City Sirens. So seeing her on Harley with you just makes me so happy about that. So Harley Quinn, 28, that's where you and Sweeney start. Harley Quinn over the years has, been a lot of different characters. Batman sidekick, a villain, a hero, goofball, cracking fart jokes. What's your take on Harley Quinn in the new series?
That's a really good question. One thing I've been really grateful for right now, and like the zeitgeist, the time and place in which I'm writing Harley, is that there's already been kind of this post-ironic version of her that we've seen. We've seen Margot Robbie. We watched the show. Huge fans of both. And so I feel like I can combine that kind of really honest post-ironic sense of humor that Harley has, where she's like so through being ironic and sarcastic that she's kind of come back around to being really overly sincere, that I have like that version of her already in the minds of fans, because it's really accurate to how I've seen her. Because I mean, I was talking to some people the other day, just doing press talking about Harley. Someone was like, what was your first impression of her when you met Harley Quinn? And I said, well, I was a kid and I was watching Batman the animated series and she was wearing a pink nightie, and so I had a crush on her. Like, that was like, because she was an object to have a crush on with a cute voice. That's what she was. And I fell in love with her in a very different way now that I'm like, no, I relate to you. And then the fact that she's now canonically queer is like background, like very settling to me. But I don't shy away from her being aware of who she was. Like, to me, I think to really feel close to a character, to laugh at them comfortably and laugh at yourself, you need to be honest about who you are and where you've been. There's the pages where you see her in the orange jumpsuit, there's a moment where the Joker is brought up and she says, objection, what year is it? Like, why are we talking about him? And it's because he's part of her life. He's not a part of her life anymore. He's part of her past. And her current life with her girlfriend, Poison Ivy, is the thing that's most important to her. But let's be real, the thing that I connect the most with Harley is that I've been someone who has been dealing with mental health as a big part of my life since I was 15 years old. And I'm 37 now. I've been around the block. I've had more experience in this stuff than a lot of my therapists do, So having someone like Harley to write is really grounding, and I'm really hoping to reach people like that who feel like sometimes the things in your life that you want to preserve, the normal things, right? Your girlfriend, your house, your job if you like it, whatever, your hobbies. Those things can be harder to preserve when you feel like you have the weight of mental illness on you. But Harley can do anything, right? And so can we, so she's gonna be fine. Sweeney's gonna draw it great no matter what happens.
In Catwoman, since issue 50, we have her in jail because she murdered someone. But there's gonna
She really didn't want to. You should read it.
But there has to be a Catwoman on the streets to kind of put the mob bosses in order. So right now, under Dawn of DC, we have Eiko Hasegawa as a Catwoman running down the streets with a katana. Can you tell us a little more about, how that's been this year with Eiko as Catwoman and Selena in jail, what's going on?
Yeah, so first of all, I love stories. Jail stories are a great example of this. School stories, survival stories. I love a story where people can fight big over little resources. And I thought it was a really fun place to put Selena, right? Let's stick her somewhere where there's no glamour for her, but she's not, she's not the big cat in the yard. She can't be open about who she is and where she's from, and she has to decide when she goes in, is she gonna be out for number one, or is she gonna remember that these people in jail, these women in jail with her, they're Gothamites too, they're women, they're citizens, they're people too. I think if we know what kind of person Selena Kyle is, we know how she feels about that, right? But it's hard. It's hard when you're scared and you're low because you've just killed a guy you really liked in front of the other guy you really like.
Double oops.
And you're in jail, like, boy, this is awkward. When you're at a low place, that's kind of what I was talking about, like putting characters in hot water and making them make choices that show you who they really are. So it's like, even when there are no diamonds, even when there's nothing sexy, who is Selena and how does she do what she does? Because it's not her first time being locked up. So that's been really fun, and even another really fun part of that is that the kind of B-plot has been out on the streets. We have Eiko Hasegawa, who, if you read Genevieve Valentine's incredible run, she was the head of the Hasegawa Yakuza clan, and well, she was the daughter of the head of it, and then we have now made her the head of it. And so she's running one of the crime families in Gotham, kind of as a double agent. She's preserving her own family's legacy and also dealing with these men. The core of our run is that Selena has been basically gathering together and trying to run the crime bosses in Boston or in Gotham, but not as a. She's not leaning on her own mafia heritage. She's Catwoman. She's making them listen like they listen to the Bat.
Also blackmail.
Also blackmail, yeah. And that's also a big part of it too. Selena listens to women in ways that men in power don't always. So she's living in the same building that a lot of the daughters or side girls or guma, to use the Sopranos phrase. A lot of these women are living in, and Selena is kind of their protector, even if they don't know it. Women are very important to her. So anyway, back to Eiko. I'm rambling. She's on the streets as Catwoman as she's been before, and alongside her is Tomcat, who is Dario Tommaso, who's been Catwoman's kind of friend and ally since he turned against his family.
Awesome.
What else, Jess?
Yeah, Catwoman 53 actually just came out this week, so make sure to go pick that up.
Yes. Yeah, we've got, and if you haven't been reading, 50 is a good place to jump on. It's a really good time to jump on. We're building to some really, really, really cool things. One of the biggest things I can think of Catwoman's been a part of in a long time. And I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, we got some big plans coming down the line that we can't talk about yet.
That was Jess's way of telling me to shut up. Isn't she nice? She's like
Nice.
nice.
Dude. All right, so I think, is there anything else that y'all want to plug or let us know what's coming down the line on DC?
When you go by Doom Patrol, pick up a Harley. That comes out Tuesday, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Put them both on your pull list. I think that's.
Yeah.
What do you got?
I'm still writing a book called Danger Street, so if you're like, man, I really need some lady cop in my life, which I know, or creeper, or or if you want terrible covers. I absolutely adore that book, and Gotham City Year One, which I know y'all aren't buying. It's fine. I'm okay with it. It ends this week, and it's. I love that comic. I'm doing it with Phil Hester. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done. The end is so fucked up, and it's just it's one of those comics I'm super proud of, and it's super insane, and I love it. And Phil drew the.
Feels so good.
I love Phil.
Utterly brilliant. And so yes, please pick that up and buy all the other issues so I can do more. I beg you, because I love it so much. It's just brilliant. Anything else we're promoting?
Yeah, the last issue of 1 Minute War for Flash 1 Minute War comes out after the next week. And yeah, there you go.
Also, We Are Legends, an initiative under Dawn of DC that I'm editing, featuring new Asian superheroes as leads of their own books. It's also coming out under Dawn of DC in May, so make sure to check that out. So Mitch, I remember you posted that whether or not Batman One Bad Day the Riddler sells a lot, you're gonna get that back tattoo of the Riddler. How's that going?
You got the tattoo?
We passed the number, didn't we?
I believe so.
Yeah, we went for third printing.
I only get my tattoos from one guy. He's in North Carolina, and I'm in Arizona. But it'll happen.
It's
Excuses.
It'll happen.
It's like Bruce
I don't trust Arizona tattoo artists.
That's going to be the lead headline.
Wow.
Wait, is it like a like?
Yeah.
You know, Todd McFarlane lives in Arizona, but I guess he doesn't do tattoos.
That would be.
And on that note.
But if you haven't seen the image, it's like the creepiest, zaniest Riddler from I was reading the Batman young readers book to my son, And I opened up that page and just, I want that on my body.
Can you live stream that? Can you live stream it? Sure. Oh, I want to see it. I'm so excited.
That's a fantastic way to end the panel. Thank you all